realism. I think that would be a most
Okay.
reasonable position to hold. I don't have a deductive argument for it. I just yeah.
Me neither. I'm a type B moral error theorist, but I can be like a realistic devil advocate, right?
What's the
Um,
difference between type A and type B error theory?
yeah, so a type A error theorist would hold that there's a conceptual contradiction within the schema of the realist apparatus, right?
Okay.
But the type B moral error theorist would hold that, well, we can have some moral judgments. Um, that we can have some type of moral judgments or not.
Holy
Type B moral,
gabbing!
but I could give like a Bayesian divergence in favor of realism. And the argument is simply, well, under the hypothesis that we have a successful theory, yes, right? If the theory is successful, then we would expect convergence to the given theory, right? And
Did
we
you
do
say
expect convergence. I'm using Bayesian convergence and divergence. And we do expect more convergence towards moral realism. For moral error theory, we see more divergence, right? So we'd have a strong probabilistic case that moral error theory would be less probable.
So what you're saying is we expect more under moral realism versus moral error theory. Is that right?
No, I'm saying that like we see a lot of successful theories that we see a lot of convergence to, like specific physics theories like gravity, general relativity, evolution. Within society, we
Yeah.
see large convergence to successful theories. So we see large convergence to moral realism. And if we see more divergence to a given theory, like moral error theory, then that could be like a good impliciter of the theory being erroneous, right? So,
So
given the fact
what
that
would
we see divergence, sorry, go ahead.
no, it's fine. What would the convergence that we see in like when it comes to moral realism, what would some examples of that be?
Yeah.
That would be
So,
supportive.
convergence in favor of moral realism, what we see like most theologians, like specifically Thomists as well as Muslims, we see convergence given those accounts towards realism, and that's a byproduct of their religious virtues, right?
Yeah.
And we see a high threshold of religious convergence, so we can give like an evidential case for that. And then as well as the abortion talk, right? And a lot of this abortion talk, we act as if the ought nots and the moral actions and the moral properties there are real. So even given those talks, we see more convergence towards the moral realist apparatus. And given the byproduct of philosophical disputes regarding error theory, it seems like there'd be more divergence under that theory. So given the fact that in most successful theories, we see more convergence, and then we see convergence to moral realism, it seems like moral realism is more probable. At least the posteriori probability of moral realism would be more probable given the data than moral error theory.
You said we speak as if it's real. Would it be required, right? Like we can talk as if something would be real, like God, for example. Like we can talk as if God is real, but
So for that part, I was talking about the abortion talk, right? I'm not talking
yeah,
about like
yeah, no,
I'm not talking
yeah,
about psychological folklore, right?
yeah, it's fine.
Go ahead.
It's just like when we talk about something that as if it's real, would it be required for it to be actually real? Like like under
Yeah,
the closet real.
that depends. Yeah, that depends on the type of ontic paradigm. Usually in the abortion talk, they take like a Quinian view on existential talk, um, meaning that for any x of y, right, if x is talked about within the discourse, then y would purport metaphysical machinery outside of the conceptual schema. Not outside the conceptual
Yeah.
schema, but within the conceptual schema, like within the world, I mean. So
What is the view?
he would be like hard realist about all of it. So when we talk about there's an apple on the table, we're
Yeah.
saying that we're going to be ontically committing ourselves to an apple, like one apple being instantiated within reality.
Yes.
So they're not stipulated by like conceptual analysis or definitions. Like so, when, like in the abortion talk, how this ties into the abortion talk. Usually, there's going to be like a moral agent, right? And so under that view, we're saying that there's like at least one rational agent within reality. That's
Yeah.
moral, right? So that would
Yeah.
be a Quinian view, right? We're not taking like a deflationary view we're not taking like a fictionless account of these existential questions and saying, well, under this psychological folklore, we act as if X within that discourse. Excuse me. So under these talks, it seems like people will commit to a realist apparatus regarding abortion, right? And that could give more credences to conversions of moral realism. We have theological cases as well as applied ethical cases. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Any questions?
No, I think that was sufficient enough. I was just thinking of how to rebuttal, but I don't think I have any contention. So, yeah. I don't really run air theory, but it seems it doesn't get too far because it
Yeah,
does.
that's
That
like
is a valid point.
that was like my first ever like MVC advocating for realism on moral realism.
You just like what are you actually?
So I'm like a type B air theorist. I'm a mental fictionalist. I'm a deist, but I think all theistic and deistic fail. I'm an epistemic contextualist. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I'm just going to need yeah, I'm gonna need to